Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. Alpha Quabo, aka Show here at Radio Diamond. Every single Sunday or every other week, giving to you the best of ourselves, bringing to you knowledge, unity, bringing to you wisdom. It is about us. It's about the family worldwide. So we understanding we're going through a crisis around the world, and that's why we decided to do this special show. But first of all, I wanted to ask either one of the elder to allow me to start the conversation. Baba Small, Brother Dextor, who want to give me the permission to start?
Permission.
Okay. So, brothers and sisters, we having a special guest here in the studio, and also we having great elders in the United States to be able to break it down what's really going on. And the question we're asking to you, brothers and sisters, the question we're asking you is this one here, as you can see in your screen. The U.S. Police Department is a terrorist organization that focuses to protect the white power structure and kill and terrorize our black/African people. Do you agree with this statement or you don't? This is the question that we're asking the show today. And right now, we're going to be having 1 minute silence to pay honor and respect to our beloved brother who just got killed by the police, George Floyd, and all of our ancestors that gave blood, sweat, and tears for us to be here. So in 1 minute, the silence starting now. As you can see, man, these shows, it's hard. It's hard, but we gotta stand together. We gotta stay strong, and remember, I'm the young here, so I gotta be able to. Anyway, peace and blessings one more time. My name is Alpha Quabo, aka Show here at Radio Diamond Special. I'll begin to start with the Elder E in the studio. Just a quick introduction. Tell us about who you are and what are you doing in the community? Just a quick introduction.
Right. My name is Dextor McIntosh. I've been in the community, community for what, nearly 40 years, operating in the community as a business person, as well as an icon for my people, should I say, are the people that look like myself, because of the disadvantage that we face. And you know where we're located now, we're in the heart of Mosside, a area that is predominantly black, or once was. I don't think the dynamics of change are changing slightly because of the potential of the area. And what I have seen over the years is the disadvantage. No different from probably New York or any other big cities in the world where there are black people. Even in Africa itself, in certain parts of Africa, we see the disadvantage. And I thought to myself, this is where I need to be, at least as a representative, somebody there who can get on with things. And I hope those who are looking, those who are coming like myself, I will help to make a difference in their life.
Wow.
And to me, that is very, very important.
Wow, wow. Obviously, is the captain. If you've seen all this, the way Radio Diamond has been blowing for all this year, here in the UK became one of the powerful radio, not only in the UK but around the world. Because in Africa, Jamaica, everybody talk about Radio Diamond, and is the captain, is the leader here in the community, is one of the main responsible. I'm just here, the face, but there's so many people behind this this great project. So in New York, just a quick introduction, because obviously the family worldwide know the power of this great elder in New York, Baba. So I don't want to introduce yourself because I'm going to be making a mistake. You got a big bio. So just a quick introduction, just to tell the family who we talking to.
Yes, greetings, Sista Yaa, and greetings, Baba, there in UK. I'm Professor James Small. I'm the International Vice President for WADU, the World African Diasporan Union. I'm the CEO of the Sana Lodge, Ghana Enterprise Limited, a corporation and a hotel we own in Ghana. I'm a man who's been married to an African sister for 49 years, 8 children, 23 grandchildren, and I'm just a black man that want to be free and want to see my children free and want to see my grandchildren free and their children free. So whatever we could do while we are living to make that possible, that's who I am.
Wow. And obviously in Washington, D.C., we have one of our great powerful queen sister, and she's not only talking, but she showed the way. She's a leader. She's a revolutionary, should I say, and she's a mother. That's why we decided to bring the mother here in this show today to really break it down, this sad situation. Please, can you just give a short introduction about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back, Brother Alpha. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Brother Dextor, and pleasure to meet you again, Professor Smalls. We met before in Ghana at the Sana Lodge some years ago. I don't know if you remember, but it's a pleasure to be in your presence again and an honor. I am Attorney Tanya Safir Unkaba, known to everybody as Sista Yaa, and I am an attorney by profession. I practice criminal defense and criminal prosecution for over a decade in Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee, as well as in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I am the founder and CEO of the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program, which is an NGO, nonprofit organization that I created to provide the assistance that I see a lot of our people in the diaspora need, who want to repatriate back to Africa, but they don't have the resources to do so. So following in the legacy of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, I created this organization to act as a business incubator to give our people the assistance they need to get on the continent and start businesses. Recently, my organization joined with several other organizations, State of the Africa Diaspora, UNIACL, Made in Africa, Al-Kibalan City, and Basani, Black Star Action Network, to form what we call the Exodus Alliance. This is we believe we are in a state of emergency as people in the diaspora, and we came together to form this alliance to do a massive crowdfund over the next 24 months to raise the funds we need to do a mass exodus of our people back to the continent of Africa.
Wow, wow, wow. As you can see, brothers and sisters, kings and queens, share this message. Because remember, we have these three great leaders to be able to take us through of what's really going on. So that's why we decide we're here today to talking about the behavior of the police department in the United States, because right now is a human rights issue. Always been, but it's even worse because now all world came out together. We see massive protests all over the world, in London, Manchester, in different part of Europe, in different states in the United States. We've seen massive riots. So that is why we brought these three leaders to ask us as a young people, where's the way? What is the solution? So I'll start with Professor Small. But before we start with Professor Smalls, I'm going to replay this quick video. If you can stay there, stay on the line. I'm just going to replay this quick video. Obviously, the sad moment. I just want to play a short one. So just so you understand what we're talking about. It's only like second video, just 1 second. Really for you just to see the final stage. The final stage of the brother. So I'm just playing this quick video. I hope you we're not going to play all of them because we understand the situation that we're facing on. So we're not going to play all of them. It's just really to, yes, the image is ready. I'm just making sure everything's fine with the image. Right. So it's just a quick second, just so you can see what's really happened.
Look how they doing people out here. Got him bleed on the ground. He crying and shit. Oh, that's sick.
Please. Please. Please, I can't breathe. Please, man.
He looked at my neck, man. One of my homies died. He went back home. He
I'm about to die, just say.
relax.
Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
What do you want?
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been waiting the whole time, man. Get up, get in the car.
No, we can't. No. So I'm starting with Professor Small because obviously I'm starting with Professor Smalls. Take us through by watching this video. What came up in your mind, Professor Smalls, by watching this video, seeing the way they're killing our brother in the street, broke their light. So take us through what came in your mind, Professor Small, when you saw this video.
Well, I've seen so much of them, my brothers and sisters, killed in broad daylight. I think this was more graphic because there was an opportunity not to take his life. There was multiple, when you have your knee on someone's neck for 9 minutes and you've got other people telling you to remove yourself, that you're taking his life, that you are killing him, that he cannot breathe, that he needs help. And you're not alone. You've got 2 other officers on the side of the car helping you hold him down. He's handcuffed behind his back. It was that total non-human behavior, total disregard for life, beyond anything you can measure. It wasn't a sudden conflict they had and the gun went off. It wasn't a sudden battle and the knife stabbed somebody. You had nearly 10 minutes to cease and desist from killing a man who was already subdued by handcuffed and 2 other officers. And in front of the whole world, you looked up with all callousness. You didn't give a darn. You didn't care what nobody think, because you felt that your system of white supremacy and racism had your back. And no matter what you did to an African man or woman, you were going to walk away and go about your life. when they put the brother on the stretcher, he was obviously dead. And the nonchalant manner that this policeman got up, dragged him to the stretcher, then came to his brother-in-law, Mr. Chu. He's married to the brother, the wife of that Asian policeman, and just gestured for him to let's go. Like I just drank a glass of water.
Yeah.
It is that cold, callous. I'm America. No one is going to touch me because I killed an African man. And that's that. I feel like I have, what do you call that thing? Sanctuary. I have sanctuary to do what I want to Black people. And that's what you saw. That, I'm always upset in those instances, and we're trying to do things, but that behavior afterwards, I have sanctuary. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to be taken care of because that's only an African that I killed in front of the whole world. And I did it with total disregard for what the world might think of it.
Yeah.
And so I think the world has shown them, from every major Black community in North America, in the UK, in Nigeria, in other African capitals. We've heard from the African Union. We've heard from the United Nations. I saw a very strong post last night from former President Jerry Rawlings of Ghana. And we've heard from Caribbean islands, governments and organizations. I was on IRI radio in Jamaica this morning. We were discussing the same issue. So they made a mistake this time. The spirit of Brother George, that spirit, because see, even we have taken for granted as Africans that we're not just flesh and blood. And we have not trained our spirit. And we don't even recognize spirit when it's grappling for us. And I think this young man's spirit came out and told the world, enough is enough.
Wow. Before we go to the elder here in the UK, I got to go to the mother. As a mother, Sista Yaa, as a mother, because I know you're very active in the community. I know you're so eloquent talking about why it's important for us to stay together and understanding we have to do for self. We can't wait for nobody. So as a mother, what going through your mind when you saw that terrible image?
I called my own mother in tears. I broke down in tears and I cried, hearing this 45-year-old man calling out for his own dead mother as his life was leaving his body was more than I could articulate. It was overwhelming to me. It's traumatic. It's traumatic to this. For all of us as African people, to watch this happen to one of our brothers is terrorism. It's trauma. And I had to call my own mother and break down in tears because as a mother, when he called out for his mother, something in me, it just took over me because I imagined in my mind that was one of my children calling out to me as this was happening to them, and it was just overwhelming. And I have sons who are very kind, generous human beings, but because they're African men and because they're over 6 feet tall, a lot of people are automatically assume, that they are a threat, or, I'm terrified. I have my oldest son who loves to go hunting and fishing and doing all these things, and I have to constantly, when he's camping, he wants to do normal people things, but it terrifies me when he's out, and his wife has anxiety when he's away from the house. We shouldn't have to live like this, and I have to keep calling every couple hours to check on He's 30 years old, but I'm afraid. I have to, are you okay? Is anybody around you? This type of thing. When he wants to go out and go jogging, like our brother Ahmad Avery. We, even though our children are grown adults with their own families, as mothers, we're still terrified. We're absolutely terrified that one day it may be our own child on the ground with some animal's knee on his neck. You know what I'm saying? Taking his life. And brother, it's too much.
Wow. So obviously, talking about, I know what the elder feeling here in the UK in the studio. You've been through a lot, brother Dexter, the owner of this station. You've seen everything, because Moorside, as we stand in here, it was once considered one of the most dangerous area in the UK. So you've seen a lot. Because when I've talked to you, you shared a lot of experience. You saw a lot of violence here. What came to your mind when you saw that clip? Because I know you're not even really do interviews, but you say no, I want to come on this one, and then it means a lot for me, and obviously having the elders here as well in the United States. So what go through your mind? What went through your mind when you saw that situation?
There's several things that go when I see things like that, and it's, to be honest, it heart-wrenching. It's very, very difficult to sit and to see something like that, because when you see things like that, you ask yourself the question: what do they see, and how do they see us as a people? And this is it's not a thought that just comes, it's a deep inner thought. How and why these things happens? Is it because is it blatantly because of the complexion of our skin? If we didn't have the skin complexion, a question I sat there asking, would they have done that? No, they wouldn't. So blatantly is racism, is hate, and that hate is coming from above. When I said above, is the institutes, the leaders that run the United States, those that are behind the scene. And I also blame Trump himself too, although these things were going on before he came along. You understand? But he also perpetrated those things. From the time he turned on and said, kick them, beat them, and all these things, he has given them the license to do whatever they want to do. And what that police officer done, as far as I can see, is blatant disregard for the black person. Wow. And America is going down a road today, to be honest, not for what I can see, I wouldn't say just America alone, but for what I can see, the blatantness of America right now, it's a hate, and it's a self-hate. Because if you can treat a person, human being like that, you hate yourself.
Wow. So go to Professor Smalls. Take us to the history. You've been talking a lot about how the white power structure in the United States function. So you've been moving in different countries around the world, seeing the behavior of the police. Take us through. As the police has really to protect us as a people, or is it just a institution, an arm of the so-called racisms or racist or the white power structure? Take us through the history, Professor Smalls.
Well, this is May 31st. I think it's the 99th year of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. We like to call it a riot. It was not a riot. It was a massacre of the Black community. And I think a little history will help to inform us why the behavior we're seeing now is apropos to the behavior from even back then. A week before the attack on the Greenwood, which was the African community in Tulsa, the National Ku Klux Klan of Knights of America held their national meeting in Tulsa, hosted by one of the wealthiest white men there, who wanted the real estate that was the black community of Greenwood. And they used this young black man as a ruse. They knew he did not touch that girl. The young black man, they said, touched the white girl on an elevator, and he was arrested. And so let me give you a backdrop to that. That young black man did not touch that young white girl. That was his girlfriend. They would go on after the postmaster to move to Detroit and get married and raise a family. So,
Sister Yaa, I just need you to okay. Sister Yaa,
young boy,
I just need you to turn your device. Go ahead.
And arrested that young man. And then the Klan wanted to move on the jail. The sheriff did protect him, but then the black community came with their weapon and surrounded him to protect his life. And we were not benign, just like what you're seeing in the streets of America now. They would say, oh, these are outside forces and so forth, as though we can't defend ourselves, as though we're not hurting enough to strike back. Well, in Tulsa, there was a group of young black men who had served in the First World War. They were called the African Blood Brotherhood. And it was that group that defended Greenwood. And they defeated the Klan, they defeated the policemen, they defeated the white community on the ground in the military battle. And that's why they went to air and firebomb the community and created a firestorm, because they had been militarily defeated one-on-one on the ground by the African Blood Brotherhood and the black community of Tulsa.
Wow, wow, wow.
Come back to today. Now they're saying, oh, there have never been an outburst in America of the magnitude you've seen over the last 3 nights. So now they want to say black people aren't strong enough to create this. These are some terrorist groups that came from the outside. They're even willing to say, well, there's some right-wing terrorists too. But we can't say the black community and their comrades. There are a lot of young white men and women standing beside us. There's a lot of Latino men and women standing beside us, and even Asian men and women. I've seen Arab men and women. So they're saying this black community could not do anything this massive in such a quick response. So there have to be some outside terrorists. They're even saying today it may be the Soviet Union have planted some people in the crowd. How ridiculous. You won't even respect my life, but you won't respect the life of the children of the person you took. To dare to stand up and bring you to your knees, you have to bring out your National Guard and your military to address 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of our community, because the 40 to 50 million of us did not stand up.
Wow, wow, wow.
Less than 20,000 of us have stood up thus far.
Wow. Sister Yaa, obviously talking about the behavior of the leadership, obviously the elder here in the studio emphasized it, but when you see Donald Trump promoting these strong words of beating up, of these strong words of attacking everybody, so do you reckon he's got something to do with it as well? Like in light the police, now they feel like, okay, now I can beat up everybody. So what is your thoughts about your take about the leadership?
He came in. But he instigated it to a level that it has never been instigated to before. Never before since Woodrow Wilson, who hosted the Ku Klux Klan and the Birth of a Nation movie glorifying the Klan in the White House. Never since that time have we seen a president of the United States that have gone overboard to support white supremacy, racism, and white nationalism. He even said he is a nationalist. So like his father, who was a Nazi and who participated in Nazi rallies right in New York. So the chip doesn't fall far from the log. But his being a president, I hate to call him the president. He's such a tiny little human being. He has no intellect, certainly no spirit, and certainly no soul. You have a pathetic little man who made it into the presidency by accident because someone orchestrated the taking of the Electoral College. He did not win the majority vote of the American people. And so we have an accidental child in the White House that is uncouth and immature, and that we have a sense of what building a nation is all about. He does not have a sense of what governing the largest multi-ethnic nation in the world is all about.
Wow, wow. Sista Yaa, in Washington, D.C., same question to you, because you've been criticizing a lot this leadership to the point that you're saying, enough. We got to go, we got to have one foot here and one foot in the continent of Africa. So what is your take about the leadership, the police department, the president? What is your take, Sista Yaa?
This is just more of the same of what's been going on. This is, I mean, this is not new. If anybody who knows American history knows that this is what America is. And, you know, so I'm not surprised. What he has done is emboldened what these people already feel inside. And now they just feel free now to come out and express what they really, you know, will hold inside. He didn't make them racist. Even when we had Barack Obama as president, these things were still going on. This is America. And my message to African people is, this is what it is. And they're not going to just change. If they had any intention of changing, it would have been done. You know, they would have done it by now. This is who these people are. So when you accept that that's who they are and realize that you cannot live in peace with them, then you start moving in an intelligent manner to, you know, start making the right moves for the security of yourself and your family. I have decided that my oldest child is 30. My children range from 30 to 10 years old. I have 3 grandchildren. My grandchildren are living in a world where the same issues my grandparents were dealing with still exist, which is ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, that's all the empirical evidence that I need to see that this is who these people are. You know, so I want to encourage our people to start considering other options. You know, we don't have to stay here. Yeah, our ancestors built it and we have a right to stay here, but we don't control any of the resources. We don't even control our own drinking water here in America. These people, and you can't even live a week without water. And we as a people don't even control our own drinking water, the most basic human need. We don't control it here. You understand what I'm saying? So I accept that they are, just as Baba Smalls described them, soulless, devoid of humanity. This is just who they are. And he and this guy that's in the White House is a reflection of what America really is. And see, I think people are in denial about what America is. They bought into this lie that they spread, you know, of, oh, we're this great melting pot and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, that guy that's sitting in the White House is a reflection of what America is and what America has always been.
Wow, wow. Going to the elder here in the studio. Obviously, you are the Windrush generation, right? Windrush generation. So the same thing that happened in America is pretty much almost the same thing happened here in terms of the human rights, taking care of the human rights. So do you reckon the link is that the same structure to oppress black people no matter where they are? What is your take about it? Because at the end of the day, let's talk about human rights itself. Go ahead.
Well, it's the same. What's happening around the world today, from America to Britain to Germany to France, there's a movement of the right wing. And people need to understand this a little bit more. Mr. Average need to understand this. That there's a gathering of the right, and the right have no respect, as far as I'm concerned, for us, the black. You understand? And this is what you're seeing today. There's a rising of that. And hence why it happened here in England, but not as detrimental as we see it in the States. It happens, but it happens in a suckled manner. You understand? And for what happening in the States right now is a different type of culture in the sense that here, when it happens quietly. It's a hush-hush. It's have a snake worm attitude. In America, it happen out expressively. They don't care. They're not bothered. You understand? So the same thing happened there happens here. Because if you look and see our youth, especially the boys, the young boys, and very, very little respect they get from the police. And the police is the one basically that runs the world, especially run Britain, run the United States, because they're the foot soldiers for the leaders.
Wow.
And it's the same thing that happened in England, but it's happened in a different way, in a more of a suckled manner than it is in America.
Wow. So, brothers and sisters, as you can see, give me my mic. We're going to Professor Small, but before we go to Professor Small, we're going to play a 1-minute soundbite of one of the video. So, brothers and sisters, so we've seen brothers and sisters sharing the video of our Baba talking about, deeply about what we need to do. So, I want you to play the video, just so you understand, and then we're going to ask the Baba Small to emphasize a little bit more about that short clip, because people like to short clips and then make their own judgment. Oh, is this? Oh, is this? So that's why we say we're going to bring the Baba Small and we can hear from him. Oh, we missed Baba Small, so it missed up. I wanted to play the video. Just it's only a 1-minute soundbite, just so you see what we're talking about here. It's only 1-minute soundbite. I want to play this video just so you see Professor Smalls. Okay, the video is ready. So just watch this video real quick, and then we going to be right back.
Kill you. I'm not going to get on TV and cry and call for Reverend Sharpton. I'm going to quietly sit back, bury my baby, and then I'm going to figure out how to kill you and your wife and kill you and your children. Every black parent that have lost the child to the bullets of the enemy in uniform who's supposed to be your protector, you should go kill those enemies. That's your duty as a human being. And if you can't protect your family, you're going to bring a baby in this world, raise him up to a man, child, or a woman, and then you're going to let somebody come and shoot them down like a dog in the street, not only go into court and get off and laugh in your face, but they pay them back pay.
As you can see, now we head into that situation. Violence meets violence. So we got to understand, because for far too long, we've been praying Amazing Grace. We've been praying forgiveness. So now the younger generation say, that's enough. Because we understand the elder, they got to be careful and mindful. But the young people, they don't care. They don't care. So we're going to Sista Yaa real quick before we go to the elder here. So in your humble thought, we will come to the situation that, do we really come to the situation that people are going to stop? Oh, now we got Baba Small again. So Baba Small, help us to emphasize about your video, because we don't want these short clips, but we want you to emphasize, because people now start saying, oh, Professor Small was too hard. But if you come and attack me, what do you expect me to do? To just pray and say, oh, yes, God help me? So help us to understand, Professor Small, real quick.
I know I've heard that people said I was too harsh. I sound like an extremist. But let me tell them, in the last 4 years in the United States, 4,400 of our people were gunned down unarmed in the streets of America. That didn't happen in the Soviet Union or Iran or China, as we like to wail against. That happened against us here in the United States. Nearly 250,000 was arrested, most of them overcharged or trumped up charged and put in prison, given a felony, so they're not going to be able to vote. They're not going to be able to get jobs when they get out. They're not going to be able to live in government housing. They're not going to have any of the franchise that a citizen should have, because someone have a policy of felonizing black men. And when black men even attempt to resist this false felonization in the courts of America, they're shot down in the streets. We don't do that to other people. And I'm saying what Malcolm X said, that we have a right to defend ourselves and our family. We lost 50 million people in the so-called transatlantic slave trade, and the Atlantic didn't run a slave trade. It was the Western European and the Arab Muslim slave trade that brought us across the Atlantic. No one cries for that 50 million people. And in the 400 years we've been in the Western Hemisphere, we lost quite a few million more. There's no commemoration program across the world. We have never, no one can cite you history where Africans have practiced genocide on any other ethnic nation. The only history they can show is we have welcomed them into our homes, welcomed them into our lands. And even in the lands where they've enslaved us, we have not seek vengeance, and we've been free of shackle slavery for over 100 years, but we have not seek vengeance on anybody. And for the ones who committed the crimes against humanity, called enslavement, called Jim Crow, where you can lynch 100 black men in less than 2 years, many of them in the military uniform of your nation, who fought in Europe to serve your nation, and walk away smiling and expect that there should be no, not even an intellectual retaliation for that. The reason why they're crying and saying they must be outside terrorists, they don't want to even get into their mind that the African Americans had enough. So psychologically, this says, oh, it must be some outside people doing this. Grant, there's always other political forces, but don't fool yourself. What you're seeing is the response from the people you've injured and you're crippled.
Wow.
So you don't have the intellect, or you don't have the humanity to hear their cries, even in the minimal way that they're doing it now. It is a sad testament to the humanity of the elected local, state, and federal government of the United States of America.
Wow. Go to the elder real quick before we go to the mother of this planet and Queen Universe, Queen Yaa. Go to the elder here in the studio. Now come to the point that violence meets violence. Because if you bring violence to the community, we're going to respond with violence. What is your take?
No,
because
may I say something, Alpha? Don't use that term. That's their term, violence meet violence. See, violence is when you aggressively seek to injure another human being, especially without cause. When you have to defend yourself, that is not violence meeting violence. That is defense against tyranny and violence.
Whoa. So elder here in the studio, same thing, because you're seeing a lot here in this community. So is that's what leading to? That's the road that we're leading to now? Because the young people, they now taking matters into their own hand. What is your response? What is your take on that?
Well, the thing is, that being the case, if your household has been attacked, you have to respond. You understand? I would say I can understand that being the case, because if somebody's going to attack my house, I'm going to have to defend it. But there is also another policy. I also have, yes, we have the Martin Luther King concept. We have the Malcolm X concept. Over the years, people have been talking about that and defining the both. But what I also say today, where we are living and the time in which we're living in, we have professional black people. We've got progressive black people. But one of our biggest problems that I've noticed is that once they've reached a certain level, they've turned their backs. We are there. We should be the ones that make the change. We should be the ones that turn around when we reach the level that we attain ourselves to through education and things like that. We should be able to sit around the table and to make the changes that's necessary. As to why that is not happening, that's another question. We are easily bought out, and this is what I've seen. We should have the mentality of this: I'd rather die than give in. giving to what? To your dollars? At the expense of our lives? No. We should be able to be in the position to change mindsets. And I believe we can. Because using it, as you said before, violence meeting violence. No. But if somebody's attacking my household, I have to defend that. But the next stage is, there has to come a place where there has to be peace. And the peace is ourselves is educating ourselves, educating our youngsters to be able to look on himself and see a reflection of himself and see his strength and his capability. And to be able to sit around the table and make the decisions. I've seen in the United States, and I have to take my hat off to the States, and a lot of professional black people. And I would love to see more and more of them coming out rather than sitting back and taking the dollars, thinking the dollar is going to put them in suburbia. They're different. And I think this is where the selfishness is.
Bringing Sista Yaa here. Yes. What about the Oprah Winfrey's, the Jay-Z's, and the All Sharpton? We're gonna ask that with Professor Small as well, because he mentioned in the video over there. So, but go to Sista Yaa. What about all those? We got Jay-Z trying to fight to get a seat at the table. We're supposed to build our own table. We got Kanye West is okay, but what about all those so-called brothers and sisters in positions of power to make a change? What is your analysis on them?
Are they in positions of power, or are they just black people with money? I don't think they have any power, because they know they don't have any power, and they know that if they get out of pocket, the very people who allow them to have that money will cut off the water hose. Okay, so it's, Jay-Z does do some things. I can't talk bad about that brother, but at the end of the day, look, these people know where their bread is buttered, and they've reached a certain level that, they're not trying to come back down where we are, financially or whatever. And they've gotten accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and but I don't think they have power. I don't. They're just black people who have money, who've been allowed to get money. So we the people, we collectively, us, the everyday black person that's working their job and making minimum wage, or maybe somebody that's making 50 or 60 thousand, we have to work together collectively for the benefit of our people. We can't be looking at Oprah Winfrey or Jay-Z and saying, what are they going to do, to help us? But we can come together ourselves and put our pennies together and do what we need to do to uplift our people. But I don't look to those people as, they're not my leadership. I don't look to them as leaders. I don't look to them as anybody they don't have any more power than I do.
Go to Professor Smalls.
I'm sorry, Professor Smalls, what you say?
Brother Yaa, you have more power than they do.
Go to Professor.
You can appreciate that they're entertainers, and Beyonce did put out a letter supporting the young people in the streets yesterday and everything on behalf of a family. And I've seen Terrorise what's her name, Henson?
Yeah.
Speak up on the very first days very strongly, and many others. But like Sister saying, these are not our leaders. These are entertainers, the people who whites have given notary to. I think we've got we have three powers in our hands. The first power, we spend for the last 5 or more years over $1 trillion into this economy. It is how we spend that money that will determine the power of that $1 trillion. And we need to organize around that process. And there's some people who are, with the organizing of black businesses, with trying to invest in Africa. It needs to be rev up even more. The other power we have, because we do have nearly 50 million people that are not going to leave, I wish they would all leave, you know, like you must. I've been trying for years to open that door back to Africa, but we know they're not going to. So then they should use the power of the vote. All politics is local. We do not have to leave these people in office who are not servicing us. Pick the people from your community, from your family, the people who march with you, and let's run them for these city council seats and school board seats and community board seats in the communities we live in. And let's take over local government. You see, it is local government where you can really make fundamental change in your community. And so the power of the vote. But the third power, really it's the third and the fourth, is an understanding, a profound understanding of the history of African peoples. Because history will erase the mystery, as Dr. Noble has taught us. Yeah. You must know your history, and you must return to African culture. And I'm not talking about drumming and dancing and dressing. Those are tools of culture. African culture is an ideological and a philosophical and an intellectual worldview that's rooted in the experiences of our ancestors, not the colonialist ancestors, not the enslavers ancestors, not the Arab ancestors. And I use Arab specifically for 1,500 years before the transatlantic slave trade. They were in an invasion process and an enslaving process in Africa. And they have to take responsibility for the damage done. And so we need to show respect for our ancestors. Knowing your history is learning about your ancestors. Yeah. Knowing your culture is following the pathway and the sacred science given to us by our ancestors. No people that have disassociated themselves from their past. No people that have disregarded their ancestors. No people that's using a foreign culture can survive as that people.
Right. Oh, wow. So go to the elder here in the studio about the political power. Professor Moyne likes so well, but the political power, because y'all been facing here, because policies here in the UK, to some extent all over the world, whoever controls the power, the political power, the aim is to oppress our people in any way necessary, financially. So, and not only that, taking advantage as well. So what is your take? Because obviously, by you being a businessman, a community leader, so what is the difficulty you've been facing all over all these years in that regard?
The biggest difficulty, what we face, is the difficulties in communicating with each other. And that's one of the biggest difficulty. And I don't say that lightly. It's a massive spread. Difficulty in understanding, meaning you're spending your pound in somebody that look like you shop. In having understanding about the people that look like you. Be patient, tolerant, on all these things. We need to adapt those principles. What I've seen over the years, I was born in Jamaica and I came here nearly 51 years ago when I was a child. I came to this country. And we as black people, should I say African Caribbean black people, we were more or less, out of all the other culture, we were more or less the domineering ones. Then afterwards we find those come from India and Pakistan started to come in numbers. And what I've noticed is that they have excelled and we have not. And the question is why? We spend our money in their business, in their shops, and all these kind of things. We support that. And we have nothing to show for it. Many years ago, the indigenous people here, they used to curse them, used to fight them, used to say they smell of curry because of their cultures and all these things. These people today are running local governments. These people today are having a massive influence in political circles. We have sat back for some reason and we have not excelled in the way in which we should. We need to point more of, as my mom would always say, when you point one finger at somebody, the other four point back at you. We need to ask ourselves the questions as to why we are where we are. And only we can answer those questions. Wow, wow.
So go real quick with Professor Small before we go to Sista Yaa. We had Obama over there. He didn't really do much.
We did not. The white Americans had Obama. We did not have Obama. He had no power as a black man. He went in there in the service of the white ruling class that runs the Democratic Party. He did not carry a black agenda. He refused to even listen to a black agenda.
Right.
So he's not a good example to mention because he had no power of his own.
If
I might comment the follow-through on Baba Dextor. Baba Dextor, I think there's a good book. It's called Tribes. I forgot who the author is, but it's a book about the Jewish, the Pakistani, the Indian, the Chinese, and as international economic and cultural tribes. In order to control the economic, politics, and culture where you live, the glue is your culture. You cannot organize and compete with another person if you got the same culture as he does and you have it second-handedly. You have to have your own culture. The Indians have their own culture. They may speak English, but they're operating from their culture, their religion, their worldview. And they tell that to themselves. You know, we were forced, but we have to turn around from it to accept the culture of our oppressors. And there's no way you're going to beat your oppressor with his second-hand culture.
Right.
We need to return to the culture of Africa. And again, when I say culture, I'm not talking just about the music, the dance, the theater, the drama, the writing. Those are tools of culture. Culture is everything that affects the life of a people. And it goes back for centuries and centuries and centuries. And that's why studying the history is essential and important. You can't say I'm an African and I know nothing about how I arrived in this place I'm at now. Yeah. I'm an African, but I know nothing about the value system, the worldview, the philosophical concept of the universe that is fundamentally African that I use to determine my relationship to Baba Dextor, to Sista Yaa, and Sister Alfie, no matter whoever else is in the room. And I'll end with this. You know, in Cuba, they call the Yoruba religious community Lukome. But the word Lukome is a word, a Nigerian word, or a Yoruba word, I'm sorry, because there was no Nigeria then. It's a Yoruba word that means you belong to me, and I belong to you. And so when the Yoruba men and women who came from buried parts were captured and put on the slave ships, from the scarifications, they recognized one another. And so they used the term Lukome so that they would know who they were to one another, but no one else would. Yeah. And we don't have that Lukome. Yeah. We need that.
Can I please add something to what ahead. Baba said? They have so, and like Malcolm X said, we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. We are the only people who have bought into this lie called multiculturalism. See, they tell us if we, you know, even black people will tell you when you start talking about doing with black and supporting black business, oh, you know, that's racist. Oh, just, you know, love everybody. Go support everybody. It doesn't matter. Well, but nobody is supporting us. You don't see Chinese people coming into black people's stores to buy anything. You know, the few stores that we have. You don't see Korean people coming to us to purchase anything. But we go to all these different people to buy and spend our money. We are the only people who bought into this lie called multiculturalism. Listen, support your own people. You know, that's what everybody else is doing. And that's why they're above us. And that's why they're leaving us behind. Because we're the only ones running around here, you know, saying it doesn't matter what somebody's race is. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter. And when spending our money and doing with all these people who are not giving back to us. That's why we have to stop this nonsense. You know, and then also another thing is it's going to be difficult in a lot of ways. And we're lazy. to find the things to go out of our way. It's easy to get on Amazon or to go to Walmart and buy something rather than taking your time to trying to find somebody that's black that has those goods and services and products. You know, so it's part laziness, but I tell you what, if you had a beauty supply store, you can't even hardly get the Korean wholesalers or whatever to sell you anything to compete with other Koreans in that business. You see what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have to stop with this multiculturalism lie that we're the only people who fall for it. You understand what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
I think you're spot on, because there's a bigger picture here, and the quicker and the better we see the bigger picture, the more we will understand what the idea of supporting each other is. I think we don't see the bigger picture, because when you go into you support other businesses, over the years I've noticed what they're able to do. They're able to educate their kids with the funds. Yes, their kids are able to get into a position where they become employers rather than workers. Yes, they become doctors, lawyers, they become politicians because they have the resource. And if you're going to take the resource from your community and put it into somebody else's community, what you're going to do? You're making your community even poorer, and it's harder for them to climb up the ladder. And we need to see the bigger picture, rather than thinking sometimes we're going to make one another rich and wealthy and they're going to live in suburbia and all these kind of nonsense. It's not about that. It's not about that. I always believe when you're in the position, you're able to sit around the table and make decisions on behalf of us. Because when no one looking like you sitting around the table, we're getting the crumb from the table. And this is what's been happening over the years. And it's time we need to have, big time now, we have a massive, massive rethink. And I hope and believe, after what's happening in the United States, it will snowball into other parts of the world where black people will see themselves from a different perspective and say to themselves, I want change. And only time changes will happen is when we make the change for ourselves rather than relying on somebody else to do it for us.
Wow. So go to Professor Smalls.
Yes, Baba Dexter is absolutely right, and Sista Yaa is right. We are saying the same thing. Adam Powell asked us, "What's in your hands, little boy?" And he was mimicking David out of the Bible. I don't usually quote the Bible, but that was a good quote. When David had the stone, God asked, "What's in your hand?" Because Goliath was so big, David didn't think the little stone was of any consequence. And so Powell asked the black community, Adam Clayton Powell, who was the U.S. congressman from Harlem, New York, he was talking about our wealth. He said, "What's in your hand, black man? We've got $1 trillion in our hands, but we're giving it to the Koreans, we're giving it to the Arabs, we're giving it to the whites, we're giving it to the Asians, the Chinese. We're giving what's in our hands to everybody except to the black men and women who own businesses." And above that, not what's in your hand, the other thing in your hand is the voting power. We live in the United States of America. Don't say voting is of no use, because that's not true. Because in this environment, how you change the political status quo, especially at the local level, you must use the political apparatus at hand. We don't live in a Marxist state. We live in an electoral political Republican state. So let's use what's in our hands. The third thing is in our minds, our history and our culture. That's the glue that glues that vote to that money to me as a people.
Wow. So obviously,
let me just outline the steps.
Go ahead, Professor Small. Go ahead.
Control of economics, where we live, the local politics, where we live, and control the culture. And that means controlling the schools and anything that affects the education of our children where we live.
Wow. So brothers and sisters, as you can see, we're having this very interactive show. So obviously, because we have to understand now, we're facing a very difficult time worldwide. So we got about a couple of 10 more minutes to go. Let's go back to the greeting situation here, to the focus of it. Now we got obviously our brother passed, and let's talking about the police department. Professor Small, I'll start with Professor Small. So
I'll be quick because I want to hear some things from Sister Yaa. I'll be watching you all the time, by the way, so on all kinds of mediums.
Okay, go ahead. So
what we need from the police, we need to get city councils around the country to pass an ordinance that after this graduating class, no one can leave a police academy unless they have residency where they plan to police. If you do not live in my neighborhood, you can't be a police in my neighborhood. That would go a long way. Secondly, we need to have the U.S. Supreme Court reverse the sanctuary policy that they have protecting police who harm the citizens. Okay? And then the third thing, we need to make sure that we can control the city councils in the municipalities where we live. You know, policemen living where they work, controlling the city council so we can change the ordinance in that community, and to have lobby our Supreme Court to take away the sanctuary clause that protect those policemen who commit brutality against the citizens of the state.
Wow. So, Sister Yaa, you've been very advocate, and we go with Elder here as well, having having a connection with the motherland, because no matter what it is, we must have to build our base, or at least have connection with our base. So, do you reckon it is about time? It really is about time for us to begin to rethink and say, you know what? At least let me have the foot on the ground too. Let me have the foot in our base. So, what is your take, Sister Yaa?
Well, I can tell you that I'm contacted all day, every day by brothers and sisters from all around the world who say, I'm ready to go, help me. They just, because of 400 years of social and economic oppression, they don't have the resources to just get up and go. This is why in Ghana, and I think Professor Smalls will agree, the vast majority of repatriates there are retirement age. That's because they have the resources to stay there. The younger people who are just working class people are working to survive, you know, and they need that next check to continue living. So they don't have what they need to get to the African continent, although they have the desire. So that is why I created this program, because I'm telling you all day, and it breaks my heart, because I'm talking from Brazil, I'm talking from Belize, I'm talking from Jamaica. I mean, don't think that our people don't want to go home. They do want to go, but they need assistance. And so I know all of them don't want to. Some want to stay here. They feel like, you know, they have a right. And I agree with Baba. If you're going to stay here, then you need to do the things that you need to do to protect yourself as a class of people. I believe Africans in the diaspora are a special class of people because of our history. And on the African continent, we need to be seen and treated as a special class of African people. And certain concessions need to be made for an easy transition back to the continent of Africa, because we have a birthright to go home. It's our birthright. I didn't ask to be here. Okay, neither did my mother, my father, or their parents, or theirs before them. So we have a birthright. If we say we want to go home, people need to move over, make some room for us. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And yes, having a positive identity, knowing your history, knowing some African culture, because all of us don't know exactly where we come from. But I claim the whole continent because I don't know. So I claim all of it. And I have a right to go to any part of it that I choose to, right? Because I'm a mixture of a bunch of African people from all over the continent. So I believe that part of our healing has to come from some type of reconnection to the African continent. I prefer if it's a physical reconnection, even if you don't, every African person in the diaspora, as a result of the transatlantic slave trade, should visit the African continent at least once in their life.
Wow.
Every last one of us should.
Our holy pilgrimage, it should be called.
Exactly.
Wow.
Africa is our Mecca, and we need to at least go at least once in our life. That in and of itself will start some of the healing that we have, that we need to have. So it's very important.
Wow. So moving to the studio here. Oftentimes when we're talking about Africa, we forget about Jamaica. So we don't really, we underestimate to some extent Jamaica. Because you can't be talking about African liberation or African emancipation without mentioning Jamaica. That tough island that gave them a tough time. So why it is important now to include Jamaica in any conversation? Because people forget about Jamaica. And you elder, you brought Jamaica in the streets of England. The food you selling, you brought Africa into this little city called Manchester, London. So why is it important for us to not leave Jamaica in this discussion?
Not to leave Jamaica?
Yeah, not to leave Jamaica, because at times we just forget about Jamaica. What is your take on?
The thing is, not anywhere we are descendants, we are African descendants. So saying leave out Jamaica, not to leave out Jamaica, I don't quite understand what you meant by that. But if you're saying it's the same thing that affect us in England, affect us in Jamaica as far as economics, which is very important, because there's a culture in Jamaica right now where you will find the people in the poor people in Jamaica are being oppressed by the rich people in Jamaica. They're not on equal footing. The resource of Jamaica, the Jamaican people themselves are not benefiting from it. It's been pilfered, it's been stolen. So going back to what you say, even going back to what our sister was saying about even going back to Africa, let's say one moment here, just comment on that. If I want to go back, if I'm going back to Africa tomorrow, I have to be prepared to go back to Africa. I can't just go into Africa with nothing in my hands. I have to go into Africa knowing that I need to change the mindset of Africans, if you understand. When I say change the mindset, especially leaders. I've seen a video today. Somebody sent me a video. It might have been an old one, I don't know, but someone sent me a video today. We're in South Africa. A young lad was put into a coffin and was placed alive by two white farmers. And that touched me in the sense of saying, in Africa, in 2020, this is still going on. Two white men put him in a coffin because they said he was trespassing on their land. Apparently, they got termed 11 years for that. But when I see something like that, I feel distress. Because the art of the black land, this is happening. I saw, it's in the United States, I would expect that because of what's happening. And I was taken aback. So if I believe, always believe in this. When we talk about Africa, and when I talk about Africa, it's about going back to Africa to help to make changes in the sense of helping to probably to bring out, to educate, helping to see the strength of Africa and to be able to improve Africa. I can't just go to Africa empty-handed.
Wow. So Professor Small, you've been back and forth. You've been back and forth to the point that, to some extent, people saying the American government are now beginning to be afraid of so many black people moving back or going back and visit. They even stopped the passports. So, in your humble thought, this is one of the reasons as well they don't want us to go, because they're afraid once you connect with the continent, it's over. What is your take on it, Professor Smalls?
Well, we know that the nature and the scent of American foreign policy, and it's been stated in writing when Zbigniew Brzezinski was the national security advisor to President Carter. They advanced a white paper, which is still used by the government of the United States, that African Americans and Africans on the continent should never be allowed to develop an economic or political or cultural relationship. That is the policy of the government of the United States. But over and above the government of the United States, I agree with Baba Dextor that if we want to go back to Africa, we should do our best to go there with something in hand, of course. But I agree if we don't have that something in hand, because we are not created in America. We are prisoners of war, and we are refugees in return. No one, unless Africa want to take responsibility for the transatlantic slave trade, and want to take responsibility for the chattel slave trade, and I'm sure they don't want to do that, then you have to return to me my land rights, my stool rights, and my skin right as an African. And let me tell you, because I've been involved in the spiritual system over there a long time, everyone knows who we are. Right. Everyone knows where we're from. Those who got our stool in their guardianship know that they got our stools in their guardianship. Those who got our skin knows it. So we don't need to play games. We need to sit down and have a discussion. And many of us have had these discussions. But I do agree, when we can, and we are in position in the West to raise the capital, and that's what Sista Yaa is trying to do. So people will go back with investment capital. The other thing that we have to be about, we can't be in denial that colonialism wasn't slavery. Colonialism was either the same or worse than chattel slavery, because it is still going on and it is still in full force for the most part. We cannot deny the damage of colonialism to the spiritual psyche of the Africans and the dismantling of indigenous African spiritual institution, religious institution, educational institutions. And unless you're going to restore that, just making a good black-faced colonialist is not going to help anybody, because we'll end up creating a class contradiction that's going to keep us enslaved, and only a few of us going to be on top. And that is the problem we have in many Caribbean islands and most African nations. We have that in the Black American community with the Boule and the others that make up the Black elite in America that lords above the masses above people. We have to become African, not just in location or skin texture. Africa has a world view. Africa has an ideological undergirding foundation. Africa has a philosophical, ethical, and moral foundation that's different from Asia and different from Europe. And we need to learn to return to that as we are returning to the technology that we're learning in the West, as we're returning to money, marketing, handling that we're learning in the West, because we got to be a part of modernity. We can't abandon modernity. We need modernity, but we have to make sure as we deal with modernity and the technocracy of today, that we undergird it with the African ideological and philosophical foundation that is indigenous to Africa.
Wow, wow. So as you can see, brothers and sisters, we have to extend a little bit. So, because obviously the elders, we have to listen to the elders, and that's what it is. So, Sister Yaa, talking about the solutions now, really quick. This situation is going on. With the police, they might going to give him, I don't know, 10, 20 years, and then probably 5 years is going to be released. So, in your humble thought, what is the practical solution real quick?
Listen, the solution is ugly. And I'm going to tell you what it is. Every time they kill one of yours, kill one of theirs. And they will stop it. I'm telling you. If they know the result is going to be, because I'm telling you, that's what I would do. I'm 100%. There's no way in the world that I can carry children in my stomach for 9 months. Those are people that I created. I brought them into this world. I created them. I made them. I raised them. I fed them to maturity, to grow up and be respectful, decent human beings. So I am, as far as I'm concerned, I am their God on earth. And vengeance is mine, said the Lord. So if you do something to me, didn't God strike down those in the Bible who did something to his people? So listen, if they, once they get it in their mind that if they do something to yours, that something is going to happen to them or one of theirs, they will stop it. They will stop it. And all this nonsense of us jumping up, embarrassing ourselves, talking about forgiveness every time they kill one out it's I'm so ashamed every time our people do that. You know, every time one of these animals kill one of our people, then the family want to jump on TV and start talking about forgiving. How can you, as a mother, say that you will forgive somebody who took your child's life like an animal? I would never forgive anybody for that. And if you do it to mine, I would do it. I will find a way to do it to yours. And that's how and that's, for me, that's the solution. They will stop it. They will stop it. Every time, if you keep on talking about this forgiveness and rolling over, there's no way in the world that boy that killed Trayvon Martin should still be walking around here. That in and of itself, the fact that he's still walking around menacing people and taunting us with his presence is traumatic in and of itself. How can he still be walking around after what he did? You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, for me, that's the only logical solution as a grown, mature human being, one of the Creator's first creations on this planet. And I feel like that's in accordance with my divine Creator. Retribution. You do something to me, I'm going to do something back to you. You kill my child, I will go hunt yours down too. Period.
Wow, wow. So, bring back my camera. As you can see, brothers and sisters, this is serious. So go to the elder here in the studio. What is the practical solution? In the short space, you got a couple of minutes. What is your practical solution?
I can understand the anger in saying going back and killing somebody because they're taking my child's life and things like that. I can understand that. But my question is, where does it end? Will that end the solution? Will it end it? Or will it only escalate it? What is it? I believe it is in our hands. I always believe in this. It's in our hands to make a change. I believe it's in our hands to change the situation. Going back to what we said before, we have the vote there. We have to have the economical strength to stop all these things. Because if we're going to go back out, because you kill mine, I'm going to kill yours. As far as I'm personally concerned, this is my opinion, it's only going to escalate it more. And it may not change it. I think the only way which we can change that is when we look in the mirror and see a reflection of ourselves and say we have the tool in our hands and we also got it in our head, the ability to make the change. And I sincerely believe in that. Because the change will come when you use the vote. The change will come when you have economical strength and power.
Hold on, Elder. If they come into your house, let me. This is our parliament, so we got to talk. If they come into your house, do something to your children, to your family, are you going to sit back and say, "Oh, what you going to do"? Let us just go straight.
I said before, as I said,
in your humble, personal. If they come into your house, damage your house, what you going to do? Go ahead, Elder.
As a family, you understand? I have to defend my family as a man. This is what, as a man, I have to on the spot. But let's look on the long term. Yes, let's look on the long term. Because if they take me out, my family's finished. My family's finished. But given at the given time and the given situation, I have to defend my household.
Okay, good. We got it. We got on this one, Elder. That's what we got on the Professor Small. Same question to you. Practical step, Professor Smalls.
Well, of course, I agree with my mother and I agree with my brother Dexter. Both of them are right because everything has a context. Even your response, you should be able to respond without having commit suicide in your response. But I'll say no more about that. And the other tools we have available, because we have multiple tools. Self-defense is one tool. Reciprocity is one tool. But we have the tool of our money. We have the tool of our vote. We have the tool, one of the missing ingredients, and I can never say this too much, is African culture, African sacred science, African spirituality. When I was in Jamaica last, I did IRI radio this morning in Jamaica. I woke up to that at 8 o'clock with my sister, talking about the same subject. I go to the shopping malls in Jamaica. They're all owned by Indians or Arabs or Chinese. Okay. And it comes back to what Baba Dexter was saying right there in the UK and right here in Black America. Other ethnic nations have seen our depressed condition and have been in alliance. Let me be very clear. They're in alliance with the ruling white elite to make sure we cannot exercise the economic franchise. But knowing that will help us understand why we need to exercise the economic franchise of our communities. And that's why we need to have the cover of blackness. The cover of blackness. I mean the cover of African culture and African sacred science to govern our relationship to one another. So we operate and act in one another's interests at all costs when it comes to things economic, things political, and things cultural.
Wow. So Sister Yaa, obviously we got a couple of minutes. You got this amazing project by going to taking our brothers and sisters in Ghana. Just really quick, how's the situation with the project? Really quick. With the program.
It's going really good. I mean, we've getting a great response from the people. We're getting the support, and I think we're going to make it. I think it's going to be a historic movement. We will complete the dream of Marcus Garvey, and this is something that the people are expressing to me that they want to see happen. So I think we will get there. We're getting a lot of support, brother. I just did a video recently telling my people how proud I am when I see them donating and supporting, and they're reaching out and they're contacting me and they're sending. I mean, I got so many emails. I want to apologize, but it's only me responding to all these emails, and I'm going to get to everybody. But the website is getting so much traffic. Our people, like I said, this is something that they want, and so I'm very excited about it. I can't wait for that day to receive our first repatriate on the continent who come through the program. I'm very excited. So, everything is going very well. Very well.
And the right of return should be unquestionable. That those of us who are the children of the transatlantic slave trade, we have the right of return and the right of repatriation to any African nation on the continent.
Right.
Period.
Absolutely.
So just really quick before I let you go, we got the national chief of staff of the Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, on the line. He wanted just to address really quick. Please tell us who you are. Tell us who you are and where are you right now in the United States?
Yes, this is Imam Akbar Abdullah Kareem Bilal. I'm the National Chief of Staff of the New Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. We're in Washington, D.C., in the United Snakes, some say the United States of America, and we are a paramilitary operation as well as a Pan-Africanist network. We are the cubs of the most honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. We're under the leadership of the Honorable Hashim Ekanaten Nzinga. We come by way of the Chairman Emeritus. It is Malik Zulu Shabazz, our attorney and doctor at law, and I am the Chief of Staff, and we move paramilitary operations across America and some in Azania and South Africa. Our chairman in London is Huey P. Rose. Our ambassador out of France is Brother Kimi Siba or Brother Kareem. And we have multiple networks in Azania, South Africa. We love Zimbabwe, and sometimes we're Robert Mugabeites by character and by nature, and Idi Amin by display, that we would take our land black. We would ask the Eurasian, the European Asian man to distance himself from us at this hour.
Okay,
and we would distance ourselves from him, Black Power.
Just 1 second. Professor Small, are you here, the brother? Sorry?
Very close comrades with the Black Panther Party.
Are you hearing the brother? Are you here?
Yes, I am, and I'm a very close comrade of the New Black Panther Party, and especially the chairman Nzinga and past chairman Malik Zulu Shabazz.
Okay. Just really quick, Professor Small. What are the national the New Black Panther Party preparing to do during this situation? Real quick. So you got about 2 minutes. What the National Black Panther Party prepared to do?
The New Black Panther Party has moved into the Chinese embassy and gave them notice that we will do no future business with any Asian market. We have served notice to Donald Trump some months ago. We did a 10,000 black man's march on the white supremacy house, and we demanded that black men be set free to set even a separate government for ourselves. And we are doing a buy black. We are moving the concept of business with the Asian man and transposing that and superimposing that to the black business and saying today, if we can't make it, if we can't produce it, then goddamn it, we don't need it.
Why?
Our scientists have had it all the time.
What about the situation with our ancestor George Floyd? What the New Black Panther Party prepared to do?
Okay, with Mr. Floyd, we have gone all out, asked all black people if Bob Marley said the slavery driver that the tables are turning to catch a fire, so goddamn it, these devils and crackers can get burned. And we believe in fire with fire, and that's the most.
Hold on.
It's fire.
Just 1 second. Go on, Professor Small.
Yeah, I'm saying that is not an appropriate question to ask the Chief of Staff.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Okay. A last word to the African family worldwide. Last message to the African family worldwide.
You want us to give the word? Is freedom of death?
Sorry, can't.
No. Is the Imam Akbar?
I second that.
Yes, I'm right here with you.
Yeah. Last message. Just 1 second. Last message
for me. The last word you want?
Last word, real quick.
Okay. The very last word is black power, black empowerment. Use the Umoja, unity of Africa. Use the Tawheed, the unity of the Islamic nation. The wisdom, the stratagems of war from the Quran is some of the most very effective. And note that from Ekanaten, meaning the first to say one monotheistic concept, through Ibrahim and through them, our ancestors came through well with the Honorable Prophet Nat Turner to Harriet Tubman on into this modern day, from Adam Clayton Powell to the Honorable Professor Smalls, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, to all of the great ones, Dr. Chancellor Williams, and each one of those scholars. But I would be remiss if I left out the most honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, or the one you know in Africa as Omar Wali, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, or Malcolm X as he is commonly known, a cornerstone for the freedom fighting of this hour, using courage, using your black unity, that every resource, including uranium to make a bomb, from the rubber to the chocolate, from the gold, diamonds, and silver of Africa, every mineral resources. Don't allow them to use not one single ounce of your human resource. Don't spend another dime with an Asian, that if your numbers, beloved brother, goes from 0 to 1,000 and then escalate from 1,000 to 50,000, did you know that the African black man, our melanation, was the intended target all of the time?
Thank
Don't
you.
be fooled or tricked by the master of deception at this hour. That is my warning to you, black man, to use your God and your gun to aim straight and shoot straight at your open enemy as a cracker lane melted down.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Professor Small, we see with you.
I got a bunch of grandchildren that's awaiting my assistance. You know, you still got to be granddaddy.
Yeah.
You still got to tell you something. I have to do it very soon. But I would like to thank for meeting Brother Dexter, and I'm with you, Brother Dexter. We've got to learn how to master our economics. We've got to learn how to shop with ourselves. We've got to learn how to open and manage retail businesses and wholesale businesses. We've got to learn how to get control of the land and the labor and resources where we live so that we can control the economic, the politics and culture in the parts of Manchester or New York or Jamaica, Kingston, where we live. And that means we've got to be ready to supply the food, clothing, shelter, and safety for ourselves and our family if we do those things. But I'm going to overemphasize the missing ingredient has been our African culture and our African sacred science to guide our politics and our economic unity. And if we begin to look that way, we'll see a big change.
Before we let y'all go, so the show just went really fast. Before we let y'all go, so we normally challenge our guests to answer one question. We throw you a name. You only allowed to answer in 1 word or maximum 3 words. So we're going to start with Professor Smalls. Quickly, I throw you names. I only need an answer from maximum 3 words or 5 words at least. So Professor Smalls, we're going to start with you. Bill Gates.
Freedom or death? Freedom or death?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, not worth the conversation.
Adolf Hitler.
Who's that?
Adolf Hitler.
Not worth the discussion.
Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton, he's done some good work, but he's also made some mistakes. And I always give people credit for what they do, as well as I criticize, because no one has criticized my brother more harshly than me. But he has also done some very good work in the community.
Wow. Go to Sista Yaa real quick. Hillary Clinton.
She devil.
Melinda Gates.
Porn star. Oh, Melinda. You said Melinda Gates.
Yes.
Oh.
Super she devil.
Say no to vaccines.
George W. Bush.
Short bus. Short yellow bus.
Okay, then we move to the elder here real quick, because the elder had some, because you know at times we only talk about the black ancestors. So today we reverse everything, you know, those who create destruction into our people. So that's why we need to study them properly. So that's why we reversed everything today. So go with the elder here real quick. Tony Blair. Oh, Tony Blair. Oh, hold on. Tony Blair.
A deceiver.
Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill, oh, he was given credit for what I do not know. No, I don't really rate him. No, nothing, no.
George Washington.
George Washington. My goodness. What can I say? We still, George Washington. What can I say about George Washington? He brought some things for us, but at the same time, too, we're still there. That's all I can say.
Now, this is the $1,000,000 question that all the elders in the UK, this is the $1,000,000 question that all the elders in the UK, they kind of, you know, politically correct to respond. So, Queen Elizabeth, I want your, actually, I want an answer from 3 of you, but you, elder. Queen Elizabeth. And be honest.
To be honest, I can't blame her on anything because you know why? She's only following the rule book. She's only following what was laid down there for her to do. She can't change. She cannot deviate. So there's nothing much I can say. She can't deviate. There's the people and the institute behind her. She has to do what she's told.
Wow. Go to the Queen Mother, yeah. Queen Elizabeth.
Inheritor of stolen goods. She needs to return. Huh? She needs to return everything that was taken. She needs to return it. She could do that if she wanted to. So, yeah.
Wow. And I'll leave the last word with Professor Small. Queen Elizabeth. Just be honest, Professor Small. I know you're always honest. We give you the floor to be honest.
Yeah, recipient of stolen goods that should be returned to the rightful owners of Africa and Asia and India and Mesoamerica. That would be her redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, wow, wow. And obviously, we closing this show. Obviously, we have to keep this conversation alive, and it's absolutely great to have these 3 brilliant minds right here in the studio at the same time. We had our great Baba Dextor, the community leader, the founder of this amazing platform that taking over the community, and then he's really putting the foot in Africa as well, and in our own hearts as well. And then obviously we had our great Baba Small. So, you know, we don't need to introduce. He knows everything inside out in our communities, and not only here in diaspora, but also in the continent as well. And we had our powerful queen, Queen Sista Yaa. She's got amazing projects. So we need you to check you out. Sankofa Repatriation Program Assistance. Am I right?
Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program.
Assistance Program. So please, brothers and sisters, donate and then help the sister, help the queen to repatriate some of our brothers and sisters who are really tired of the system here. Peace and blessings, Afakwabo, and I'll switch you off. And then one more time. Any last word? Professor?
Alpha. Yeah, the ancestors always give you little tidbits. I have a short piece on freedom written by Amenhotep of ancient Kemet. Maybe it would be good if I can close it with what our ancestor all the way back in Kemet had to say about freedom.
Hold on. Go ahead, Professor Small. Let me make sure we have everything right for you to close. Do you want any sound in the background or something? Or you okay? Do you want any sound in the background?
No.
Okay,
no.
You just want to let it go. Okay.
I want to let it go.
The platform is yours, Baba.
This is a small statement by Amenhotep of the ancient kingdom of Kemet, as translated in 1985 by Baba Asa Hilliard. Here's our ancestor speaking on the word freedom. He said, our first mistake was that we thought of freedom as a place rather than as a continuation of a struggle. He says, tyranny never sleeps. Our second mistake was that we thought of freedom as a goal rather than a launching pad from which to reach our goals. And the third thing he says, Our third mistake was that we thought that freedom made us free. That, however, is license, not freedom at all. And he concludes with this line. He said, freedom is being shackled to identity, purpose, and direction, and being in constant pursuit. Amenhotep.
Wow, wow. And we closing up.
1,000 years ago, the ancestors wrote that treaty.
Wow. And obviously, we gave the last word to Baba Small, and one more time, thank you, thank our great elder Dexter, and then our great Queen Yaa. One more time, we send our condolences to the family of our great brother George Floyd, and then our heart goes out to the entire family. So it is about time for us to come together, Ubuntu, and let's make it happen. It's do for self now. It's freedom or death. Black Power. Thank you so much.
Odabo.